right here, saved for the few.
The game is yours to play now.
The light provides.
This is Eventide Radio.
You know, in the Dark Ages, we didn't have entertainment. We had to wire effects head just to listen to Eventide Radio. Dark times, brother. But, yeah, we did pass the time by banking rooms.
Hello and welcome back to Eventide Radio. This is a fan-made Destiny podcast where we have roundtable discussions about a variety of different topics concerning the popular video game franchise. At its core, this show is about having in-depth discussions about the game from a variety of different perspectives. I'm your host, Scotty, and with me are my co-hosts, Rob and Map, and today we have a very, very unfortunate thing to talk about. If you are part of the Destiny community, and even if you aren't, you've probably heard the news that Bungie has decided to officially cancel production and live service updates to Destiny 2. They released a big statement on Thursday, kind of detailing the plans going forward and what the deal is. And first and foremost, I just want to remind everyone, because I know there's a little bit of misinformation going around, Destiny 2 is not going offline. Destiny 1 is not going offline. The game is not going away. They're just stopping updates to it, which is incredibly sad and unfortunate. But just so you guys know, the game is not getting, like, the servers aren't going offline, etc., etc. Bungie isn't shutting down as a studio. So yeah. But they released a whole big twid thing detailing, you know, why this happened to the best of their ability. They didn't give a whole lot of details, but they also gave a little bit of insight into some final moment of triumph, like esque updates to the game that we're getting, which actually seem pretty cool. So we'll talk about those as well. But Rob, we'll start with you. On Thursday, when you saw the news, where were you when it happened? What was your initial thought?
It's funny. I was out to lunch at work, and a coworker and I stopped by this coffee shop because it's just kind of, I don't know, it's like a place we like to go to once in a while. And we were in line ordering, and I got a text message from a buddy of mine who I played Destiny a little bit with. I got him to kind of play for a while. And I don't know how he found out about it, but he like screenshotted like a snippet from, like, basically they're like, oh, you know, we're discontinuing updates to it. And he's like, have you seen this yet? And I was like, no. And then I immediately pulled up like the app and saw the Every End is a New Beginning article and read it. So I was at a coffee shop, which was probably appropriate because I was able to just kind of sit down outside in like a nice cool breeze and sort of take in what was being read.
Yeah.
So
for
yes.
Real. Not to be. This sounds really dramatic and intense, and I don't want this to come off as insensitive, but it was kind of like getting news that like your friend passed away. And that sounds like super hardcore, but that's kind of like how it felt like. It was just very unexpected. And it kind of like caught me off guard. And I think it caught a lot of people off guard, including people who worked on the game. But Matt, what about you?
I was sitting at my desk. I think I was playing Overwatch, I think. And I think I was waiting for a game, and I just opened my phone, and then I saw like the news article in my news feed, and I'm like, hold up, stop everything, what's going on? But I think for me as well, where the Jason Schreier article hadn't come out yet, and then their wording at the end of the update was very much like, yeah, we're gonna keep doing something Destiny related. Yeah. So I was a bit like, oh, makes sense. They can't work on Destiny 3 or whatever they want to do because Destiny 2 is taking up development. They've launched Marathon, you know, blah 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 blah. So I was just like, okay, makes sense, you know. But then it was like reading it more, and then that article came out, and I was just like, because that came out like later in the day or the following morning, and I was just like, okay, it's Jova. Haha.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was a shock, and I'll get onto this a bit later. I think at first I was like, wow, if you're going to axe two of the games, you axe the one that's more known. But then I also thought, ooh, if you want to admit that you've fucked as a company, I think getting rid of the new thing you launch would be infinitely worse.
Oh, you mean like Marathon?
Yeah, I kind of think this whole mentality and why they picked Destiny to get rid of, well, not get rid of, but, you know, stop working on, it is because it has a reputation. It's been going on for a while. Either people will like it or they don't. And so they're like, well, this new thing, if we get rid of the new thing, that's worse for business, really. Because you've admitted this thing you've worked on for a few years and you've just launched is crap, whereas the thing that you've had for 12 years that is getting a bit old, or is old, we'll get rid of that. Yeah. Like, I'm guessing that was more of a thing to do. But, yeah, I was just like, oh, yeah.
It sucks. I feel like it was, maybe, I guess it was kind of inevitable, but, I mean, it's still kind of...
I mean, the main thing for me, and this is a me thing, is like, shit, I'm getting no new Destiny music anymore. That sucks.
Right? Yeah,
like, that was genuinely, that was like, shit, there's no more Day 1 raid. There's no more new music. I'm not sitting there, you know, anticipating. And, like, even if I don't like the expansion that I'll play or whatnot, I'm like, okay, the music slaps. I haven't got that anymore. So I'm like, shit, it's like finding out, like, you're an artist you like or a musician you like because
quitting.
They're retired.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing for me. I did have I kind of have Destiny Rising to play. I'll get onto that a bit later. I know, Rob, you wanted to talk about it. So there is some form of Destiny IP thing. However, I am aware that game isn't in the greatest spot financially. So I fuck knows what'll happen with that. But yeah.
It's not in a good spot. I didn't know that. I'm very out of the loop with Destiny Rising stuff.
It's like, I enjoy the game. It's a gacha game, obviously, so they make their money from that. But they don't.
Sure.
I don't think a lot of people are spending money on it. So.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm not that into the community where I know everything, but I just see a lot of people just complaining that it's like that it doesn't make a lot of money. Which, I mean, people in any game community complain, but yeah.
But yeah, this sucks because I was really, honestly, I was one of those people, and I'm definitely, I think, in the minority here, but I was honestly pretty excited with what they were doing. I mean, I wasn't playing like Destiny like super intensely, but I enjoyed both of the new expansions that they released last year, and I enjoyed Edge of Fate and Renegades for what they were, and I was excited for the future and what they were setting up. And it sucks to see it kind of flop and burn. And I've seen a couple people say, like, you know, I would have been happier if they just ended it at Final Shape. It kind of sucks to see, but.
Well, that was maybe the natural kind of organic stopping place.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a nice bookend. I think if they had basically come out and said, we're going to have these 3 seasons after Final Shape, and they're going to tie up, like, if they had actually tied up like Xivu Wrath and kind of introduced and also finished the Conductor, and you know, they did kind of tie up the Scorn storyline. I was very happy with that. And obviously they at the time had anticipations of keep going, right, because they introduced all the kind of the new guy who's ever able to take during Heresy and stuff. Like they clearly wanted to keep going, but I think if they had at that time said, you know, this is it, we're going to tie up these loose ends, and that'll be the end of the kind of the live service aspect of Destiny, it probably would have gone over better and made more sense. And I think it probably would not have evoked the same kind of guttural reaction that we're all kind of talking about. And
Yeah.
Scotty, to your point, I agree. It was kind of like hearing that a friend, like not the actual like emotional response, but the kind of just sudden knee jerk, like reading that was just like, oh my God, like what? And it's, you know, I will say it's definitely not like losing a friend.
No.
But it definitely kind of that first initial, just like hearing something like that so out of the blue, unexpected. Like, what do you mean Joe died in a car accident? I talked to him yesterday. It's like, you know, it definitely, it feels so abrupt. And it's because we're in this middle of this new Fate saga that I think we all mostly liked. The campaign and Renegades was cool, and they introduced some new enemies and kind of the general direction that they were going to go for a couple of years. And so I think that's maybe what's more frustrating or upsetting about it is like it's like mid. You know, it'd be
it's
like
the middle
right
of a transition period. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it. I think it would have gone over way better if it was like at the end of
Yeah, I agree.
The final shape versus doing it right now. And I think that's the part that's kind of frustrating. And I was scrolling Reddit and someone made a list of like, well, we're not going to get answers to like, and just listed off like a ton of different things on, you know, what's going on in Chicago and what's going on here and who's this new Lord of Ever Nothing. And, you know, it's like, that's the part that's kind of like frustrating of we're just not going to get answers to any of these things. Theoretically, we're not going to get answers to any of these things.
But at the same time, the cool thing is that even if, and this didn't happen obviously, but even if Bungie like came out on Thursday and was like, we're shutting down as a studio and Destiny is dead forever, Destiny has the privilege of having a very, very talented, very passionate community. And I think, you know, no matter what actually happens to Destiny, I think Destiny will live on in some form, because there are just so many people who actually do really, really care about this franchise, and who also happen to be really, really talented people. So I think Destiny survives one way or another, even if Destiny 3 isn't a thing. Speaking of Destiny 3, I pulled some. I was reading a lot of articles, and so I was reading. According to Forbes, Destiny 3 is not in production and has not even been greenlit as something to start down the road. It has obviously been pitched many times over, even before the final shape, but Sony did not want to spend the money. That has apparently not changed, is the quote. So that is unfortunate. So anyone holding out hope, thinking like, oh my gosh, you know, maybe he's they're working on Destiny 3 as we speak. That is not happening.
Well, I feel like that is, if there is one frustrating thing with all of that, is I'm not sure how you're supposed to read that first paragraph in the post, other than, you know, the after the final shape, we've reached the time for our shared worlds and Destiny to live beyond Destiny 2. That if that was truly their intention to not make a D3 or some kind of, you know, additional, you know, Destiny franchising, that should have been written differently. I think
agree.
that is the part that a lot of people are clinging on to. And, you know, I watched a couple of different like streamers and content creators, kind of their reactions, because I just kind of wanted to get different perspectives, because I read it and I have some opinions that we're going to obviously talk about. And I was just curious, like, oh, how's so-and-so? And like, yeah, that was something that Astrocross was like super holding on to. And I think rightfully so.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people were calling him crazy and that he was hard coping. But it's like, no, if the way that is written is like something else is coming
that's
out
why
afterwards.
I was saying. That's why I was saying I wasn't like, I wasn't that bummed at first because the way it was worded was just, we're doing something, and it's like, cool, they're stopping D2 to do the something, but then the article does say
that's
the only good thing in the article is I think it was that one. They do give information that they are actively pitching things, just nothing has been greenlit. So if you want to sit there and huff copium or inject it into your veins, you can sit there and say, well, you know, they are actively working on something Destiny related, like in terms of pitching it. It just hasn't been okayed yet. Obviously, they could say no. But
yeah, I mean that's the problem. I think it's clear Bungie really wants to continue doing Destiny stuff, but it's a matter of getting people to give them money to do it.
This is another thing. People going, Sony loves sitting on IPs and not doing anything with them. I agree. But I'm pretty sure that yes, Sony owned Bungie, but I don't think Sony owned the Destiny IP, or did they actually buy the rights to the Destiny IP? I don't remember the whole deal.
I think they just bought the studio.
Okay.
If I'm
because
not
there's
mistaken.
two things there. A lot of the IPs that Sony sit on, I put that there was air quotation marks there. They're older. There's not much monetary value to them in terms of the game itself. However, Destiny is a newer IP that has a lot of monetary gain around it. You know, it already has fucking microtransactions. You know, these older games that people want them to bring back, say like Little Big Planet. I'd love them to do another Little Big Planet game, but if you were going to monetize that, it would be absolutely terrible, and there's not really a good way of monetizing it, or like Sly Cooper, or you know, like those sorts of things, where Destiny has been monetized, so it can be done. It's not like they're sitting there trying to think of a new way to, you know, monetize something that wasn't before. So if it is the case that Sony has the IP, I doubt they would just sit on it. Yeah, as I was saying earlier, they probably wanted them to ditch Destiny because it's been out for a long time, whereas Marathon is new. Admitting defeat as a company is if you're binning the new thing, you know, that you've spent a lot of your time on. But I think it may or potentially get worse depending on how many layoffs happened, because that hasn't happened yet. As of recording this, we haven't had numbers of people being laid off or anything like that, if that is still happening.
Not yet.
You know, tomorrow, on Monday, it could come out that 300 people have been laid off out of the, 800 people currently working there?
Ish, yeah.
And it's like, that's fucking terrible. But we haven't had that yet, so we don't know what's happening.
Right.
Hey, maybe Sony do the thing that they did with Gummy Bears, where they take a load of the Destiny people and shove them into another place and go, right, you do side quest Destiny game thing. You know, I don't know.
Right.
That's just I don't actually believe that, but you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that this could all kind of pan out. The part that is kind of weird to me is obviously Jason Schreier's not going to like reveal who his source is, but the fact that he knew layoffs were coming, like that's got to be a relatively small pool of people that actually know.
It could be that might not be a definite. I'm not saying the person telling him working at the company is wrong and I'm right who doesn't work there, but that could be they're not letting us do this, they're probably going to make us all redundant.
Yeah, but
that, you know, if that makes sense.
But the fact that like he was also kind of reporting on things like, oh, you know, the next expansion was being worked on like up until Thursday, right? Like means that that
is crazy.
People didn't know that things were being cut or that work was being halted, and that's the part that it's like that seems like a very small group high up.
It sounds like a very brash, sudden thing that someone. They've obviously looked at numbers somewhere, but to suddenly just to not tell anyone and to stop production immediately, going right. This just we're gonna bin it in an update in June. Everything else.
Right.
Bye. Like that's odd. Like as I was saying before we recorded, Rob, I've had that where I was in a small team of people, and the big thing that the company were working on, the next big thing, was binned temporarily, not completely, but temporarily, and they told me, someone else, and obviously the 3 members of senior staff, basically. So there was 5 of us who knew, and it's like, shit. Why aren't you telling everyone else? It's like, well, because they'll be really sad. And it's like, yeah, but they still have a job. I don't.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that's how companies work.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what the numbers are, because that's, I mean, it's one thing to kind of be high and mighty about it, but like it's definitely going to be hard to want to get excited about the June update if like it comes out and then like a week later it's like, oh yeah, half the company was axed. It's like, I don't know if I even want to play this anymore, because it's like, this is,
I think, right,
like,
I think the people who made that would want you to play it because they want, like,
yeah,
like, I get it though.
No, I know.
I think those people would especially, like, I'll say it now as well. Obviously there was that petition going around, but I think the main show to them, if we wanted to show Sony that people are still interested in Destiny, is to actually play it when the update drops.
Yeah. Well, and that was something that I talked with you, Matt, right before you got on, Scotty, is like my where my copium is this is, I'm calling it a science experiment or something like that, right? Is they're making this big dramatic announcement. They're including all of these quality of life changes, which we'll dive into as we kind of talk through some of the announcement stuff. But it's like, I almost wonder if this is a little bit of like a litmus test, where if this comes out and, you know, there's all these things like Pantheon and SRL and all that, and if we get numbers that are, you know, maybe not final shape level, but higher than they've been for the last like year, that maybe that's the final thing that Sony's looking for as the green light to do one of these Destiny projects. Because it's like, you know, we enjoyed the what we've gotten so far of the Fate saga, right? Edge of Fate and Renegades. A lot of people didn't. A lot of people did not even sign in to play Edge of Fate, and so there's the writing's on the wall in terms of like hard numbers, in terms of probably how much they spent on developing this, and each subsequent expansion that's come out, because like, didn't Renegades got lower numbers, I think, than Edge of Fate.
It did, yeah.
So it's like I thought maybe naively that having a Star Wars backed part associated with it, right? Because that was really heavy in the marketing.
I imagine
thought for sure that would even,
that's what. Well, actually, Joe, what saying that? What I've realised as well is all well and good having a Star Wars thing, but if no one fucking knows about it, most of the people, right. I know a lot of people who know I play, like a lot of people of my friends know I play Destiny. They don't play it, right? But they occasionally hear things about it. No one mentioned that they'd heard that there was a Star Wars thing. No one. Yeah. And
that was the weird thing too, is I went on the Star Wars website a couple of times leading up to Renegades to see if there was like articles on the Star Wars side of things of like, oh, we have this cool kind of crossover, and I couldn't really find anything. Like, I did like keyword searches for Destiny and like their news and updates, and there wasn't like, it seemed like the marketing was kind of one-sided in that regard.
It definitely was. I think they paid for the license, but that was it. It wasn't actually like a full-on crossover sort of thing in that sense.
Right. But you would think kind of fundamentally Star Wars would at least throw a couple bones of like, you know, because they want their IP to stay afloat as well. And at the time of recording, this is also when Mandalorian and Grogu came out, and it's kind of getting mixed receptions. Like, it seems like Star Wars needs all the help it can get as well. But you know, ultimately I had a hope that maybe associating the Star Wars, you know, franchise as part of this would at least do something to kind of boost the numbers. But I think it kind of had this, like, you know, give a little, take a little effect, where some people were super excited about it, and there's other people that explicitly didn't play it because of the Star Wars association, where it's like, I don't want Darth Vader in my game, and we already got that, and I think there's just, this is maybe another conversation for another day where we can kind of do the kind of the dissection and autopsy of the things that led to get us getting to this point. And I think there were a handful of things like that, like the Doki Doki transmog stuff and the Star Wars transmog stuff, where it's like I get the feeling at certain stages, obviously like the Destiny content vault was probably a bigger, more impactful kind of cutoff, but like where were there significant places where the player base kind of maybe fell off because they didn't like either the aesthetic direction the game was going, or just making sunsetting of weapons a thing, and stuff like that. And so it's just all of that to say, to come back to my original statement, is like the numbers are probably the metric that everything is going off of. And Edge of Fate didn't do well, and Renegades didn't do well relative to Final Shape, and those numbers are probably diminishing. And now when you have basically no one's logging into play relative to kind of the highs, it's just not bringing money. People aren't spending money on microtransactions, and so this big update on June 9th might be a litmus test, and they're going to push this update out, and if it gets crazy huge numbers, that means people are still interested in this franchise. Part of it is like it's a last hurrah for some people. Like people are saying like, I'm going to log in and play, and then I'll probably never log in again, which is a stupid argument, and we can talk about that later as well. But it's like they might be looking at this as like, well, are there actually people interested in this franchise? And if they get, huge numbers and swaths of people logging in, maybe that is what they're using as the litmus to like green light the next project.
Yeah.
That's my copium theory with all of this.
That's the hope. No, I mean that's all we got at this point. So
yeah. I'm making very pessimistic jokes. I mean that sort of.
That's fine. It's the gallows humor that allows some people to get through. When people die and when sad things happen. I'm all for it. Everyone handles grief in a different way. So
I know the thing that I'm going to struggle with, and it's the same thing of when you have a breakup or you lose a friend or something like that. It's that people ask you, did you know that happened? I know I'm going to go into work next week, or I'm going to meet people, and they were like, oh, Caden, did you see Destiny's shutting down? And I'm like, no shit. Really? I hadn't heard that. Thanks for telling me.
Yeah. But they're going to misrepresent it, right?
Yeah.
This goes back to the thing that you said right at the beginning, Scotty, of like, to be clear, the servers are not shutting off. They are just ending the live service.
Also, there's going to be really disingenuous people out there that are going to go, oh, it's because of the player numbers. And it's like, okay, yes, they were low because we hadn't had any fucking content since Christmas, right? But then also, they're going to... I saw people saying that Destiny 2 was Concord free. And I'm like, in what world a game that went on for 12 years is Concord free? I know they're probably just being shits, but I was just like, wow, Jesus, people.
Yeah, it's
mad,
very disingenuous. Things are being thrown on the internet where it's like, wow, that is completely taken out of context, and and you can kind of use that same try to argument to justify or hate on Marathon, which I don't really want to talk about that much. But that could be another kind of point of the autopsy to talk about at a later time.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually, according to the Forbes article, part of the decision to axe Destiny 2 was to move more resources over to Marathon. Which I know people are going to be just like livid about.
Right. And I think, because this has also been Bungie's last MO for the last two titles that have been released, is the vanilla launch of the game is awful, according to some people. I'm still part of the camp that I think the vanilla D1 launch was solid, and we would not have gotten to where we had if it was truly that bad.
When Destiny 2 launched, the shit thing was the end game, not the actual game itself.
Right.
That was the opposite of D1, where it was like, oh my god, there's a raid, because that hadn't really happened on a console game before.
Right.
Oh my god, a raid, that's cool. End game grind. I mean, it was a bit grindy, but
right.
The story was shit. But it was reverse for Destiny 2.
Right.
The game had good reviews in its first like few weeks. It was only when the raid had come out and everyone had done it and everyone went, shit, that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
You really only need to do the raid once and you're done. Whereas in D1, it's like, no, there's a reason Forever 29 is kind of ingrained in people's brains. So,
yeah.
But so all I'm getting at is I get the feeling that probably, I read that marathon post, was it like 2 weeks ago, on kind of like, oh, season 2 is starting, here's the things we're adding, we're looking at a PvE only mode and stuff like that, right? Where it's like, this is their attempt at kind of their, I think they're dumping resources into getting Marathon to like their Forsaken era or their Taken King era, where it's like the initial launch was not received well, they're going to do a bunch of changes, bunch of stuff that gets a bunch of people in, and Marathon's going to be in a good spot, but it's going to take a year. And I don't know if they have the time like they did for D1 and D2, because I think the numbers for both of those were just substantially higher.
Also, they had more studios working on it. They had High Moon and I think another one.
Yeah, they still had Activision support for both of those launches. True. So I don't know. Like I think the base of Marathon is just not there enough to get, like, it didn't get the initial butts in seats like D1 and D2 did, where it's like, okay, Taken King came out, a bunch of people that maybe played D1 originally are at least going to come back because they've already played the game, or they see all these changes and they're going to get all their friends to play. I don't know if I see that for Marathon. Like, I'm still not sold on it. They could add a PvE mode tomorrow, and I'm just kind of like, I'm just sort of turned off from it. I mean, I think permanently, I
think it has a lot of potential, and I think it's a good game, but it's not Destiny.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean that's my thing too. Also, is I really enjoy Marathon. I think it's really cool, but it's also a completely different game from Destiny. Right. It doesn't fill that void, obviously. Right. I mean, they're two just completely different things, and
yeah, and it was. There's no way in hell, I think, at this point, that you're going to convince a bunch of Destiny orphans to suddenly cling on to Marathon. Like, they're going to go find something else. They're going to go to Borderlands. They're going to go to Warframe. Yeah. They're not going to start playing an extraction shooter. Doesn't matter if it's a PvE only mode. Like, that bridge has been burned, I think, in a lot of people's mind, in kind of the same way that, like, it doesn't matter all the stuff that came out with D2 that made it better. There are still people that I talk to that are friends of mine, and, this is anecdotal, but it is still a data point of, like, I was so offended that the content that I paid for like Vanilla D1 or for Vanilla D2 is taken away and I can't play it anymore. Doesn't matter if it's like not worth playing, or if you go to that area 1,000 times, you've already done it. The fact that Titan was there and now it's gone and I can't go back to it and I paid for it, like, that was a bridge that was forever burned in their opinion. And they were never going to go back to D2 because they were offended by that. Like, and you'll never shake that public perception for some people. Like, it's just something they're never going to get over. You could maybe try it with a D3, and if you market the hell out of it as like this new approach to, we're not going to do that this time around, however you kind of pitch that, like, you might get those people back. But I think there's a lot of people that are like, D2 died because of Marathon, right? This is the oversimplification that I think some people, the filter that they're looking at it through is D2 is dead because of Marathon. Fuck Marathon, I'm never playing it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how good it becomes. It doesn't matter if they get their Taken King moment or their Forsaken moment. You've already burned that bridge, and I there's a lot of people that are like, I am not playing an extraction shooter because it's not the same thing as this.
Oh yeah.
No.
And it doesn't matter if it's good. It doesn't matter if they fix all these things. It doesn't matter if it becomes the most, like, fun, extraction shooter with PvE mostly, and it's got these raid type things, because it's not Destiny. It's not the game that they've been playing for 7 years or 10 years or 12 years, getting all of those cosmetics and all of those builds and the space magic.
Didn't they compare it? It was like playing Marathon, you're a scavenger, but playing Destiny, you're a superhero, and
Right.
the power fantasies there.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And yeah, like they won't that power fantasy of abilities and gunplay. That's not matched in any other game. Like I do know, I have seen people say try Warframe, and I'm like, yeah, if you want to try a similar thing in terms of it's a science fiction set in space looter shooter, but it's different. It's a different product there, and I'm glad that the Warframe devs have actually made comments on that. Like one of the high up. Well, there was two. There was Rebecca, who's like the I forgot what position she is in Digital Extremes. I don't want to say she's the creative director. I don't remember. She came out and said stuff, and then another high up developer, someone who works at Digital Extremes, also said like when was it Heroes of the Storm? Yeah, Heroes of the Storm ended. He was saying that people would just tell him to go play Dota or League, and it's like they're different things.
Right.
I'd say in this case, Destiny's a lot more different than Warframe than Dota to Heroes
Yeah.
of the Storm.
Well, and when it's just such a disingenuous where it's like Warframe does not have raids and it's a third-person shooter. Those immediately...
It doesn't have PvP. Well, I mean, it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, there's
it
like...
doesn't have
exactly.
PvP.
And it's
it basically doesn't have PvP.
Right. And so it's like... And it's just the fundamental difference between it being a third person versus a
Also, you're grinding for materials, not random rolls on guns.
Right. Right.
Different gameplay loop. There is no end game.
Yeah.
Like, once you've got everything, that's it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's just like it's such a like I hate, and same with Borderlands. There's aspects of Borderlands that sort of like scratch that itch, but it's not the complete package, right? And that's the kind of it's that perfect amalgamation of all those things that I think made Destiny so appealing to so many people. Like, it combined all of those elements, and had raids and PvP and Gambit, which is it is a, as much as we want to make fun of it, it is still a very unique experience that like not many other games have in that sort of like minute to minute experience that I think a lot of people like. That's why they started playing this game, because something like Gambit was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, seriously, I mean that's part of the reason Forsaken was so cool is when Gambit came out. That was like, it was really cool when it first dropped.
Right.
But yeah, it's yeah. So a couple other notes that are concerning. But I guess there's still silver lining stuff. Bungie reportedly does plan to continue pitching ideas in the Destiny universe. I mean, that is a concrete fact that they're going to keep trying. Obviously, there's no guarantee anything is going to be greenlit, but they are going to still keep trying to pitch things. The scariest thing is that Sony has proven that it is not afraid to dismantle or even shut down entire studios. Reference Bluepoint earlier this year. And Sony bought Bungie for $3.6 billion in 2022. And according to GameSpot, they have only written $769 million off of the Destiny Studios value. So there is motivation there for Sony to just shut things down entirely. So not to like doom post here, but that is concerning. But yeah, hopefully they continue to pitch things, and hopefully something gets greenlit. But that is the point we're at right now. We do have some cool stuff coming out. If we want to share, there's some pretty sick stuff.
We were right. SRL.
Yeah. All right.
We called it. Hold on. No. We called it. The speedometer in Renegades meant SRL was coming back. And I don't, the game's ending. Big whoop. SRL was back. No, I'm joking. And they're adding new maps as well. Original maps are back, and they're adding new ones. So
yeah. And they're adding like unique weapons.
They are
through SRL.
Yes.
Like,
Can I like? Can we get a rocket launcher that shoots sparrows or something?
right.
At this point,
Just explode.
anything is on the table.
Well, and that's the part that I think was so bizarre when I first read this. And then I think the first person I watched was Astacross's video, where it's like when he got to this point, he's like, this feels like a, because I think he every like April Fools will make like a fake
what you mean. It felt like a fake one that he made.
Right, when you get all the way to the end and it's like, oh, by the way, SRL's back, like that felt like such a troll post.
Yeah.
That it's like this thing that people have been asking for since 2017?
Yeah.
2016, and it's like as part of like the last hurrah is we're finally getting SRL back.
This was definitely
like, oh
one of those
God.
projects that someone was spending like 3 years in their own time doing. 100%.
Totally.
100%.
Totally. It's pretty exciting, honestly. I know I made fun of you guys for thinking, but here we are.
They're like, there's some higher up manager walking through the office. Dave, what are you doing? He's like, oh, nothing. He just quickly closes
Right.
something to do with SRL related. He's like, what are you doing? Back to making Eververse things, man.
Yeah.
You can't be doing fun things. No, it's not like that at all. But yeah.
On June 9th, Destiny 2 Monument of Triumph, not Moments of Triumph, but Monument of Triumph, will be available to all players. Yeah, so first thing I want to touch on, before we even get to SRL, the director is back. And I know we were talking a little bit about this before.
The Portal was industry plant by Sony.
Industry plant.
The Portal was an industry plant by Sony. Some twat upstairs went, how do we make engagement better? And someone went, why don't we make the whole game like a menu, like all those other live service games like Overwatch and Valorant and Fortnite? Why don't we make the main, like, instead of having a director, we have a menu where you just pick and choose things like a fucking shopping catalogue? And everyone went, no, that's terrible. And they went, yeah, but imagine, do it now.
But imagine.
Well, and that's like there's that people kind of cite that presentation that was given by Bungie like pre-launch of D1, where they had the guy at one of the game developer conferences talking about the first iteration, and they basically did have a menu that was like the Portal system, and everyone internally was like, this is terrible, and that's what drove the creation of the director. And so it's like they tried it like 10-12 years ago, and they themselves admitted that it wasn't good, and then they went back to it. And it's like I still don't necessarily fault the idea of the Portal, because it did help with the, and I think I've referred to this in one of the other ones, like what I call like the cable TV or the Netflix problem, where it's like there are so many things to choose from that you spend the whole time not knowing what you want to do, right? And they have the metrics to show people log in, sit in orbit, and then have no idea what they want to do, and then they just log out. Where it's like the Portal was meant to, and whether or not that's successful, I think is the real issue here, was meant to funnel people into a menu system that helped you figure out what you could do or work on, right? It gave you kind of a checklist, if nothing else, of like, well, I need better boots. I can go play some Crucible, and I'm guaranteed to get a pair of boots that's going to give me an increase, and maybe it'll have better stats or whatever, right? Like that was the intent behind it, was to solve the I'm logging in, what do I do problem. It just, the interface itself, and they made it so convoluted with all the different, like, adding difficulty things and the you know, all of that it sort of went, I think, too far in the direction that it just got lost in the sauce and ended up hurting it more than it helped it. But I don't want to fault them. This just goes back to, they just need to iterate on things. And I know this takes time. Like, who knows how long it took to create the Portal, like how long that was in incubation before they got to the system that they're at now, and how long it would take to iterate on it again. But it's just like, and this is, again, maybe a problem with the community. I'm not blaming the community, but it's like, oh, the Portal sucks. It's like, okay, but why does it suck? Like, what specifically about it don't you like? And unfortunately, the internet is not good about giving constructive feedback. It just says, I don't like it or I do like it. And it's like, and that's why, I was making a joke before we got on. I have a dry erase board in my office that I kind of scribble notes on, and a lot of the time I had kind of planned out, like, specifically what about the Portal I didn't like, and like
It
personally
stole my
how I
wife
would
and
have
kids.
fixed it.
It's like, no, it
Right.
didn't.
and it's just like kind of the unfortunate thing is, right, they'll come out with something, no one gives reasonable feedback. I know there's some community members, right, that kind of created their own version of the portal that worked better, but it's just like, it's just kind of the problem where it's like, we don't like something, and it's like, okay, well, what don't you like? And then no one has good words for it other than it sucks. And it's just like, it's unfortunate that that's kind of where it landed, because it would be interesting to see the next iteration on the portal. And I think ultimately this is it, right? It's like integrating the portal into the director, which was like my big piece of feedback that I would have given, was you still start with the director and then access the portal from here through those little nodes at the bottom. Like, but you have to start with the cool star map, because that's what makes Destiny, is the cool star map of showing all the destinations.
Yeah, totally. That's like the whole aesthetic.
Right.
So it's cool that they're bringing that back. I'm excited to see that return.
The worry I have for the end of service is there's a few things. Is the artifact mods? Are we just going to be left with like artifact mods for the rest of the game?
Right. Forever with unstop hand cannon, and that's the only thing that can unstop. Right. I'm curious.
Are they gonna make it so you can have all? Like, they just designate each weapon class to be this is unstop, this is, overload. Like what are they just gonna do that?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
And then also transmog. This is a small thing, but transmog, it resets every season. The bounties, are they just going to uncap them? Like, I'm hoping that's what...
I would assume that's kind of the case. Did they...
Yeah.
I don't remember reading anything about that,
They haven't
though.
said anything.
No, I don't think they've said... but that's a,
I hope
that's a
there's
good
nothing
question.
that gets left. Especially since
Yeah.
this announcement, most people didn't know it was happening. So maybe those people who would be in charge of making those changes or doing those changes were not told. Or it was not considered. Because... if this was announced, Thursday, right? This is coming out in 2.5 weeks.
Basically.
Right. The people who are probably going to be made redundant and laid off, that's going to happen possibly tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or,
straight up.
So, yeah.
No, there's a sick part of me that thinks that they're going to keep people around for like a week or two after to make sure all the major bugs are squashed, and then that's when the layoffs happen.
Yep.
Probably.
I think it's get it out, make sure it's stable, make sure it works, make sure there's not anything, oops, we forgot to, carry the one on this thing, and now Telesto's crashing the game, like as so many updates we've seen in the past. And then once it gets to a good spot, like it could be 2 weeks or a month after, that's when I think the canning happens. I can't imagine basically sitting there thinking like, well, shit, like any day now, some HR could come to my desk and tell me to start packing my stuff. Like, why even work on this? Like, I could see there being like no motivation to even want to finish it, knowing that you and people that you've maybe worked with for the last 10, 12 years are getting canned. Like this feels more definite than any of the other previous layoffs, and it's like I don't. That's the part about the Jason Schreier article that like kind of freaks me out, is like everyone's gonna read that and like pre-announcing layoffs. If that truly is true, and I feel like his sources are usually pretty stinking accurate, like he's got to be getting from a pretty high up person his source. So it's like, if I don't know, I probably wouldn't even come to work. I'd start taking my sick days and PTO and updating my resume. Like,
exactly.
That's the part that's like, I kind of wish that wasn't announced, because now it's like the cat's out of the bag, and like everyone just knows that like their doom is inevitable, or potentially their doom is inevitable. Like I don't know how people would want to work on it at that point. I would just be like, nah, fuck this, I'm out. Like that would be where my headspace was at. If I knew for sure that my job, or had a pretty good indication that my job wasn't going to be there in 2 weeks or a month, or at least all of the people that I like working with are gone, like I'm not, my heart's not in it anymore.
Company protest, mass walkout.
I don't know. Like it just seems like whoever his source is probably should have kept their mouth shut, because
as I said, this could be one of those things where someone assumes that, And I'm not saying he's wrong.
Yeah, that could be.
But they've gone. There's probably going to be layoffs.
Right, but Schreier is usually pretty good about not reporting.
Yeah.
Like, he's usually pretty accurate.
Yeah.
That's the part that's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
it's the human aspect that kind of breaks my heart with all of it.
Well, yeah, because there's
Like,
people
I don't even like.
Who was that? I feel really bad because I've forgotten his name now. Who was that guy who was on the streams for a while back, and people were like being horrible to him, and then the community rallied behind him. I've forgotten his name, and I feel bad for not remembering his name.
wasn't it like DMG or Cosmo or something?
No. He was like a new. He'd like grown up playing Destiny, and he was then on like the dev team, and he was on like some of the live streams.
Oh, was he the Ashton Iron guy who was talking about? He's like, I played Rise of Iron, and I really wanted the axe to be an exotic heavy weapon.
Maybe.
So I made sure, like that was kind of cool, right? Where it's like that actually felt like kind of a from the heart.
Like, there's some people who obviously part. I mean, and this annoyed me. Like, people were taking the piss out of Datto for crying. It's like he met his best mate and his wife through Destiny.
Yeah,
like that's a massive part of your life, and I think it's a massive part of most people's lives. Like, I've played Destiny for 12 years. Right, it's been a massive part of my life. It's been a massive part of my life growing up. I'm not a much of a grieving person. I am on the spectrum, so typically things hit me a bit differently or a lot later. So I bet in a year's time, if Destiny 3 or whatever hasn't been announced, I'll probably randomly get very, very sad.
Sure.
But it's completely understandable. Like, if Fortnite
especially
closed
if it's your
tomorrow,
livelihood,
if Fortnite
too.
closed
That was his whole
tomorrow,
career.
there'd be a lot of fucking sad people. Or World of Warcraft. Or if fucking Overwatch closed tomorrow, I'd be like, fuck this, man. Two of the only games that I play are now in the bin. What the fuck do I do?
Right.
But, yeah, I think people are just horrible in that sense.
Well,
I think
there
weren't many people.
Datto...
There weren't many people saying nasty things, but I was a bit like,
no, there's always some
life
assholes on the internet.
Actually, longer than 12 years because he covered it in like 2012 or something.
Right, leading up to it.
Yeah.
Well, and to your point, Scotty, right? Like this for some content creators, like this is their career was built.
Yeah.
Off of Destiny, and I think a lot of them were smart and started diversifying what
100%.
games they were playing and things like that.
But even then,
yeah,
it's like you have an attachment to it if it was
the
beginning of your career, you know?
Well, and going back to, this finding out your best friend was in a car accident or something, right? Like, your initial guttural reaction, that's just how he reacted to it, and I think that's totally reasonable. It's fine to get an emotional part to it, because it's also like, it's been for the last, it's been like a third of my life has been spent playing this game, and it means something to people, right? If you've stuck around for something for more than 10 years,
shit, man.
Like,
I've just realized nearly half of my life I've spent playing Destiny.
Sure.
Like, I'm 25,
right.
So
right.
Yeah, shit.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think it's totally like all of the different people's reactions are like, that's like the whole spectrum of how people should react, and I don't think anyone should feel bad and fuck people for trying to make someone feel bad about feeling that way. It's like,
have we had a live service game shut down that's been going on for this long before? Because I feel like, unless I'm ignorant of something and I'm not in the know, but this feels like one of those.
Star Wars Galaxies was shut down. I don't think it made it 12 years.
No, but okay, I mean mainstream game.
Star Wars Galaxies was pretty mainstream.
I've never heard of it. Genuinely never.
I have also never heard of it.
Are you serious? Oh my God.
I feel really bad saying that and shitting on someone else who's had their game for a very long time disappear, but I genuinely have not heard of that.
Yeah. Star Wars Galaxies was the MMO Star Wars game before the Old Republic, and in fact, Galaxies shut down because of the Old Republic. It had a lot of controversy. There was I only played it for a very brief period. I had some friends that played it a lot. Essentially, yeah, it was a whole. It took place, I think, between between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, I think. And essentially, it was a big MMO that let you go to a huge bunch of planets. You could fill a bunch of different classes and races of species. You could play. I played as like a Bothan bounty hunter, a Bothan smuggler. That's what I played as. But
you were one of the people who died getting the Death Star 2 plans. Then
that was in my head canon when I signed off. It was because I went to go find I made Mon Mothma very sad. It had some controversy because it had a pretty rich system, and in order to become a Jedi, it took like hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of game time to. Like, you had to go and master all these classes, and then eventually you became force sensitive, and then you could eventually craft a lightsaber, and, like, there was only, like, a handful of Jedi in the entire player base, and so if you saw one enter a town, it was like you worshipped the ground they stood on. And then there was this big update that kind of modernized it to, like, a standard MMO, and a lot of people hated it because you could choose a force-sensitive subclass right off the bat and basically start off with a lightsaber, and people hated that.
They made Red War
Galaxy...
free for all players. How dare they? I paid for that. Sorry. Star Wars Galaxies, I don't think it made it 10 or 12 years, but it made it quite a while, and it had a pretty huge fan base. And in fact, people try to do we're going to make our own offline server once the Old Republic hookers came on, and then it got like a cease and desist and all that stuff. So wow. Then there was the Matrix Online. I think that only lasted about 5 years. And I think when that ended, there was only about 5,000 people playing, like in total, which makes sense why that got turned off. But, so a live service game of this magnitude and this long, probably not. No.
So this is definitely a moment in gaming history then.
Yeah.
I've also had a lot of like friends like start sending me things and stuff, like people that like used to play Destiny, like I used to play Destiny with, and who have not played in a long time, are like, damn, that's so sad. I mean, people definitely care about the franchise.
Sure, 100%.
But anyways, going back to some good news, they're also adding Pantheon as a permanent addition.
Very nice.
And with
cool.
new bosses, including Leviathan bosses. It looks like, I mean, at least in the key art that they
Callus
shared,
and Golron. I think it's just the bosses. So yeah, Callus, Golron, and Argos.
And yeah.
Fucking Argos.
But notably no Valcour, which is fine with me.
If you didn't know, Argos is a shop in the UK. I don't know if you have Argos in America.
We do not.
No, so it's a very funny.
That's funny.
It's a Greek. I forgot what Greek thing it is, but it is Greek. But
I was about to say, I'm like so impressed that you just remembered Argos' name.
But it's a shop here. So when that raid was coming, the raid layer was out, and that it was just very funny to everyone I played Destiny with at the time in the UK, because it's like, haha, let's DPS Argos. It's like, yeah. Basically, it's like a stock shop where you go in, you look through the catalogue, and then you pick the number of the thing you want to buy, and then you go up to the till, and they have to go find it for you.
Oh,
that's cool.
It's like a self-shopper kind of thing. Yeah, that sounds kind of
cool for like
to a point.
It was cool when you're a kid and you go there and you flick through the whole catalogue and you go to like the toy Lego section. You're like, Lego Death Star, wow, like that sort of thing. But
totally,
yeah.
So I wonder if they're going to bring back a Scourge boss as well. That would be kind of.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's my favorite raid, and this is the last chance.
We're never getting Wrath. We're never getting Wrath.
Yeah, that's kind of the stuff that I could see is that's definitely the frustrating aspect of all of this, right? Is like we're never going to get Scourge. We're never getting any of the Leviathan's raids.
We're never getting
back
Wrath
in like their full glory. We're not going to get a Wrath of the Machine, which I think is a huge shame. If you want to talk about how to boost numbers very easily, well, maybe it's not easy to bring back Wrath of the Machine, but that would be.
I saw someone saying that Warmind cells are now lost media.
That's insane.
Well, actually, Red War, Forsaken, and the Curse of Osiris and Warmind are all lost media now. That's it.
Yeah.
They go
exactly.
They go.
And you know what? That's okay. They can just remain lost media. Anyways, they're adding a first slate of bosses on June 9th, and then June 13th they're having a full lineup of boss encounters in one singular activity, which sounds really cool, like a true
Cool,
boss
yeah.
rush kind of style thing.
Well, and I think that's kind of what they did for Pantheon the first time around, where it was like they sort of trickled out. Like first it was like, if I remember correctly, it was like 4 bosses and then 5 bosses, and then finally like all 6.
Yeah, and they just kind of progressively kept adding
And
things.
that 6 boss one was like exhausting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this one sounds like it's gonna be like, I don't know, like every raid boss ever kind of thing in one sitting. Just
Well, I
kind
think it's not. I think it's just from what's included in Pantheon.
the
2.0.
new Pantheon thing.
Yeah, so I don't think it's every boss, which that would be kind of rad if it was.
It would be kind of sick.
But
Anyways, yeah, and then encounter rotation starts on June 16th, and then you can also attempt singular boss encounters, which is pretty cool too. I know my friends and I will probably jump in some of those kinds of things. And in order to make it worth your while, they were also updating the loot system. So all of the old raid and dungeon weapons and armor are all getting full, the full tier treatment, set bonuses, new perks even. Crafted weapons have an upgrade path for tiers. A lot of cool stuff, honestly. Which is pretty sweet. I'm very excited for Pantheon. I mean, it seems like a solid end game and something to return to even while the game is done. So kind of cool. But I mean, are you guys excited?
yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, go for it, Matt.
Oh no,
Damn.
I was just gonna say, like,
just me.
Yeah, I think just the fact that the news of there is no more Destiny is overshadowing these cool things, for me at least.
Yeah.
I'm gonna obviously play the update and things like that, but it's just like, wow, it's like returning to D1. I don't like the state that D1 was left in. The sandbox is crap, quite frankly, and it makes me not want to go back and play it. When people are like, let's do D1, I'm like, yeah, I'll do a raid or something once, but other than that, I'm not going to like spend a load of time, because I don't like the sandbox, so I'm a bit like, oh, is the sandbox going to be fine, for Destiny 2? Because then if it's crap, then it's like, oh, I won't want to play it, and there's no change coming to fix it. So
Well, that's kind of a big thing that I've seen too. People talking about in terms of PvP is like, no one's gonna want to, because it definitely like it is that aspect of like every time you go in and play D1's PvP, it's like cool sidearms. That's about it.
I don't want it to be like, oh my god, it's a fusion rifle meta, and it's like it's fusion rifles for the end of time. Like, I don't want to be sitting here when I'm like 90, but like, oh, I'm gonna play Destiny, and I'll just get fucking. The servers won't be up then, but you know what I mean. Everything has its time, but I'll be 90 years old getting mapped by a fucking Erentail or something in the year of like 2080 something. So, yeah, that's a not happening hypothetical that is meaningless, but you know what I mean. You get the point.
Yeah. No, I'd be curious, and just in general too, because like there's been the general consensus that primaries in general don't feel great in PvE right now either, and it would be nice if they got
Hold on, didn't they say they were doing a balance thing for private matches where it's a D1 style?
Yeah,
mode?
So like it's probably going to be the 1 headshot 2 body hand cannon.
Oh, that
meta
could be.
That...
Oh, but with D2 things, now that could be pretty fun.
Right, but it's only going to be in private matches.
I know.
So,
but I mean, eventually the game will get to a point where that's how you'll play PvP,
It's through private matches, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Eventually that will happen. Like, that will happen with Destiny 1 as well.
Right.
It will happen. Yeah.
Which is...
I do think it's cool that, like, in general, like, a bunch of destination locations are getting updates and armor is being brought up. Like, I know the tier system's not great, but at least it's not going to be like, well, this is cool, but half the content is worthless because it's not the tier system. So the fact that, like, raids and dungeons are getting brought up, and destinations are getting they're also adding some kind of like rotating event in some of the locations where it's like, all right, there's some replay value to kind of go back and mess around with some of these things.
Sure.
I going back, Map, to what you're saying with D1 is something that I do like is, outside of the sandbox for PvP, I think the PvE side of things was left in a pretty good spot, and the fact that there is still a weekly rotation update. Like someone pointed out, also PSA, there's like an artifact, like you can get Yolder's artifact, and it's like got 100% roll, and people pointed out this is the first time that artifact has gotten such a high roll in like 5 years. So like this week is the week to go if you've never gotten a good roll on the Yolder's that's like discipline and strength max roll, like this is the week to do it, right? And I think that's going to be kind of the important, like they also pointed out like Iron Banner and Trials are going to be on a rotation, so like
those won't go away.
Those won't go away, which is a huge problem that D1 has, right?
Yeah.
You can't play Trials, you can't play Iron Banner.
And
so
I this is the telling thing. I mean, obviously we know this, but D1 they shut those off because D2 was a thing, and it's the same thing with, I didn't really mind the state of the sandbox in D1 because Destiny 2 was coming out. So it's like, well, I don't care. The sidearms are fucking everywhere because I won't be playing this game. I'll be playing Destiny 2.
Right.
But now it's like, shit.
Right.
They haven't closed Trials. That means it is the end.
Yeah. For now, I don't know. We just have to see what happens. But I think my takeaway, I mean, we're also getting new aspects and a couple new like melee and grenades and some abilities, and it sounds like they're tuning some exotics. Like these are all really good things that it's kind of exciting that are happening.
We get one more exotic hand cannon before the end.
That's fair. I think we have enough though. The stuff they're doing to Eververse is great because now it's like you can get stuff on a knockout system and kind of target specific things, and the Bright Dust shop is updating like every day, which is crazy. I do have questions about the artifact. I hope that it's a little more diverse than what it has been in the past in terms of, what champion mods are going to be on certain things.
Maybe we'll get to pick the seasonal
the artifact.
Yeah.
Well, I think you just have it be super like you have like I would say like you have what I would do is I would have an anti-champ or a barrier, an unstop, and an overload, and underneath each of those is every weapon that they've ever done for like unstop. So like unstop hand cannon and fusion rifle and sidearm, and I think they did bows, and like, so you just have it so it's like it's all of them, and just
everyone's
like
here.
Everyone's here. So it's, if you like using sidearms, they can only do unstop, but at least you can use sidearms for most activities, right? Like it just I think don't try to do some like hype, because I don't want to be stuck with overload SMG forever. Like I want to have overload on more than just one item. So I think that's what they need to do, is just have it where it covers like every.
We got anti-barrier sidearm. That's the only one. Oh my god!
Right, exactly. Yeah, I pull my eyes up. But I think there's a bunch of really cool things. SRL's coming back, which is cool. They're releasing the collection as like a super good deal where it's just like everything, which is what they should do. They're also adding the exotic armor transmog for like everything in PvE, which is cool. Like this is all really, really good, and it's leaving it in a good spot. That again, we don't know about the sandbox. I agree with you, Map. That is one thing where it's like, hopefully we're not stuck in some kind of weird, where it's like, oh, there's some kind of weird buggy the way headshots snap with like snipers, where it's like you could be pointing on the other side of the screen, but you still get a headshot with it or something. Where it's like I don't want any like really bad things. But I think no matter what, there's going to be some subgroup of people that are pissed off where it's like, oh, the high impact pulse rifles are
like,
too strong.
Imagine
like,
we get a fucking like Prometheus lens situation, and that's it.
Exactly. Well, and I think they are going to fix things like that are like fundamentally like problematic. I think I think that much is kind of implied with, they're not completely shutting things down, but they're just not making new content. Like that's so.
No more.
The analogy that I've been.
Twids.
Yeah, no more twids or twabs. The analogy that I keep seeing thrown around that really bothers me, because I think it's kind of going back to like the disingenuous thing that you're talking about, Scotty, is like people are like, oh, it's like some girl that you dated and then she finally got like super hot and then breaks up with you. And I don't like that analogy because it's not apt.
I mean, some sexism in there, but as well.
Well, yes, obviously, but
yeah.
no, but to go a step further, and oh no, I'm going to get canceled on the internet. No, what this is more appropriately and akin to is this is a person that you're dating. It doesn't need to be a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Right? We'll just go we won't identify. Someone you've been dating for a long time. You kind of get the feeling the writing's on the wall. You or they decide to call it quits. They get super hot right at the end, or super attractive. We'll leave it even more ambiguous. But then you continue, because you have the option to, you continue to have the ability to hook up with them afterwards, where it's maybe meaningless. It's not going to go anywhere. When you have those hookup events with them, you kind of feel a little hollow because you know that things are exactly going to stay the same and that there's no kind of potential relationship in the future. But the fact is this game will stick around for at least some extended period of time, like D1. And I'm always one of those people that I would periodically every few months go back to D1 and do some stuff in there because it's still there and still available. And that's like the biggest thing with all of this is like, yes, it's heartbreaking. I think some people are being way too dramatic though about, oh, the game is dead and it's gone forever. It's like, no, you can log in. You will still be able to log in. And I think it's being left in what seems like a pretty good spot. Yes, it sucks that it's like we're finally getting all these cool quality of life updates. We're getting SRL back. So it's like a monkey's paw type thing. But
we shouldn't have done it, like, Rob. It's our fault. It's literally all
it's
our
fault. Yeah. It's you and I are the sole reason that
blame us, guys. Not Sony, not Pete Parson,
right.
Not his fucking car collection. Blame
right.
us.
But I think that's the part that I'm kind of like, maybe this is the naive part of me. It's like they can't, I hate saying it, it can't get screwed up anymore. Because it's like, if they had done another
Portal,
like let's say they retooled the tier system into something else completely that ended up becoming like worse than the tier system, and then they ended it on that. Like it's like, I'd rather
you spend the season upgrading the gun into a tier, but you have to do it, but it resets each season.
Right, exactly.
Actually, I think I just fixed the tier loot. Maybe that's actually a good idea. Hold on, that's actually a good idea.
Oh my god.
And then you can only go into certain activities with the tier. There you go, fixed it. Fixed tier loot.
Destiny is saved.
No.
The point
that is much better.
The point is like it's yes, it's being abandoned. Maybe that's like the right word to use here is like it, but it's being left in a spot that's, I think, will at least be something that people can, as much as we hark on like the there's no, upfront onboarding system that doesn't work well. But if people come play this game a year from now, it's at least in a spot that's like, there's a lot of good campaigns, there's a lot of good content, there's SRL, there's going to be all these things to do. Like it's not, they're not going to mess it up further.
It's like Diablo 3. Like someone could go, do you want to play Diablo? Yeah, I can play Diablo. Oh, Diablo 3's on sale. Oh, I hear that's actually quite good. It's got some good, it's got good stuff to do, some good end game. We'll play that. It'll be one of those games. It won't be, I've got to do my third job of the week, Destiny.
Ironically, though, Diablo 3 does still get a seasonal update every couple months.
Oh, here we go.
But what they do though that I think is really clever. That I thought if you were to ask me, this is the direction I thought Destiny 2 was going to go in. So Diablo 3, basically, they're on season 32 or something like that right now, and what they are doing is they are just recycling seasonal gimmicks from previous seasons.
Yeah.
And so they're not creating new I think they periodically do a little bit of balance patches or passes, but ultimately it's like, oh, that weird ethereal weapon system that we had from season 13 is coming back for season 33 or something. So it's like they just kind of keep recycling. And so I thought that's what D2 was maybe going to do, is like they just start, starting at like the seasons that came out with Beyond Light, they're just going to start recycling those again, where it's like, oh, if you want to do those hunts and things like that. And yeah, because Warframe did that, right? Or what? There's some live service game that started doing it. Maybe it was Division or something, where they just started recycling the old season pass.
Yeah,
and it's
I think it was.
If you already owned it, you didn't have to buy it. But if you had never played that season and didn't get those weapons or those cosmetics, I thought that's what they were gonna do. Is like, we're not gonna update any new stuff, but we're just gonna recycle old stuff.
They could. I mean, maybe they do something like that, because people have been saying, well, what about all the season pass stuff?
Right.
Like, what about those? I did see people going, oh, they're going to unvault everything. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
No.
They weren't just locked away for funsies.
Right.
But,
so, I was hoping for maybe a little bit more, like, in terms of
maybe,
just revisiting
maybe
seasons,
they do that thing where it's like, this month in the year is, Catch Crash, and then it's this month in the year is what was that shitty Monster Hunter light one from Season of the Punt?
That's what I'm from the one that came out with Beyond Light.
Yeah,
you had
to
follow the
yeah.
August I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't think of what it's called.
August
you had the sniffer
and
tool.
then, and then September is Catch Crash, and then
right.
I don't know, because those are in the game. Like, they're not.
Catch Crash is in there right now, right? Like,
oh yeah,
and that's the thing too, right? It's like Onslaught's still going to be in there. Like, there's a bunch of these kind of the Challenge of the Elders. Like, some of these things that they did add to previous seasons are going to stay in there. And it looks like they're going to kind of try to rebalance things, so it's a little more approachable to play. So I'm trying to be positive about all of this. Where it's like, yes, it sucks, but I think we are getting some really cool stuff overall. It's just it's a bittersweet thing, and it's going to be ultimately overshadowed by, if this all comes out and then you find out half of Bungie got laid off afterwards. It's like, I don't want to play this anymore.
If
like,
any devs or anyone who works at Bungie, even like, I don't know, anyone, and they want to come on and have a chat, that would be.
I would love to chat with anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
You can chat with me, Rob. No, I'm just...
I chat with you all the time.
No, it's because you went, I want to chat with anybody.
Oh.
Yeah, if we could get some, we could get our contacts to maybe they'd come on now.
We should try to get Deej on here.
Yes.
Deej hasn't worked on Destiny since what? Like,
I know,
when?
but this would be kind of the fun thing, right? It's like the retrospective covers the entire era of Destiny, and
but
it's
doesn't
like,
that
cool.
involve
It's like
Chris
the original
Barrett?
community
And
manager.
Chris Barrett is a
No, I don't want to talk to him. But anyway,
well, did you see Did you see all the shit he's been saying on Twitter?
No, I saw something about him talking about the tricorn.
So
design,
he made that. He's the reason Oryx is called Oryx.
Right.
Obviously, he didn't design these characters.
Well, because that's his Twitch handle was. Because I used to watch him on Twitch. He would do pixel art stuff.
Yeah.
Before all this stuff, and I stopped watching him on Twitch when he. I don't think he's been on for a very long time.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's like if I made a game and one of the characters or guns in it was called Mapador. Well,
right.
I mean, yeah. But the game came after. But yeah, I don't know.
Gotta stay positive. Like, this is.
I am waiting for someone, a disgruntled dev or someone, to say something, and we all go, "Oh my god, really?" Like, someone's already come out and said Lightfall was completely different originally, and they were asked to scrap it.
Yeah, but so was the original D1 story, right?
Yeah.
None of these things are shocking.
But Lightfall, that's like I want to that out of all the things, I want to know what was originally planned for that.
Yeah.
This is true. I would like to know. I have lots of questions about the history of this.
Even if we can't post the video, I'd still love to know.
Yeah,
I know. No,
100%.
there's some juicy details. Like I'd love to know, like, why did Joe Blackburn leave when he left? Were there talks even then of how long this was going to go on?
I think
or
Tyson Green was a Sony plant. No, I'm joking.
He's been at Bungie for like 25 years.
I know. No, he was
that's
a spy.
That's the long con.
He was a spy, man. I'm doing the cope. I'm just repeating the cope shit that I've seen on Twitter, man. It's
I know. Yeah, there's so much there's so much shit posting right now.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah.
I saw something like someone saying like, I think they were joking. I hope they were joking, but they were like, Sony wanted to buy them, so they gave them the idea of content vaulting, so that they'd be in a shit spot. And it's like, where the fuck did you get that from? Like, genuinely, it must have been. I really hope they were shit posting. If not, man, the internet is a place.
I know. I've definitely seen some, like, there's been some interesting discussions, and I think, again, this is if you want to talk about how different people handle grief, because that's really what this is, right?
Yeah,
it's like, in a way,
it is kind of a grieving process for
it
sure.
It is,
yeah.
and everyone kind of goes through different stages at different times
No
and
one's
handles
at
it in different
acceptance,
ways.
We're all in denial.
No one's at, well, I think I'm getting to acceptance, I think. Like, and maybe I'll hit some of the other ones later, but it's like, it just seemed like after, I think Ash and Iron for me was kind of their heart's not in this. Like, they brought back the Plague Lands for like the wrong reasons, right? Like, they didn't bring back Wrath of the Machine. Yeah. There was no plague in the Plague Lands. There's no lava spewing out anymore. It's just like this.
I
why?
think that the Destiny's coming to an end. It's being stopped. I reckon that started around the development of that. I reckon that was already possibly on the cards around then.
Sure. I think so. I didn't think it was necessarily going to end this way, but in the more I think about it, I think this is maybe the best way to end it, like kind of like how Age of Triumph was a nice bookend to
Destiny can you imagine 1. If there was no update? It was like, bye-bye.
Right, exactly. But which would have been reasonable because it was like 6 months later we knew we were going to get Destiny 2. Whereas this, we have no idea what we're getting. But this seems like a really solid, like, there is at least some heart and effort putting into making this the best damn, like, bookend that they can do with what I'm assuming are limited resources and time and people, and, like, it seems pretty stinking good, where I'm looking forward to logging into this game periodically for however long it's going to be on, because I will be one of those people. I will log in periodically and go, I want to play some Destiny PvP, or I want to run some strikes, or I have some buddies that, like, maybe because it's going to go periodically on sale. The collection will, where it'll be like $10 or something. And it's like, I'll have a buddy who wants to go through all of this, and I'll go, oh yeah, Destiny, that game's awesome. Like, I haven't played that in forever. And let's do some, and people have fun. Let's start doing some raids and dungeons. Yep. And it's something that will be there. That's like if there's nothing else to take away from this, is it will still be here. You can still log in, and it theoretically will be in a really good spot to just kind of like, oh yeah, okay, we didn't really get a conclusion to the story, but like, sometimes that happens, but it's like, at least there's a you can still play it and have fun and have those memories, right? We'll still have this podcast. We're still going to keep carrying on in some capacity. We talked about that before recording, of like, we want to do something with this, and whether it be hopefully interviewing developers and content creators and fans in the community, that would be kind of fun, right? Just going through a whole spectrum of like understanding what this game means to people and will continue to mean to people, or meant to people, right? There's people that have fallen off, and it's like there's stories for years to still tell about this game, and to celebrate it and give it the respect and cherish it for what it meant to so many people for so long. Like, the servers aren't shutting off on June 9th. Like let's ride out into the sunset, but keep riding out because and then we'll race too because SRL's coming back. And that's
With everything's
awesome.
finally being sunset.
Yeah, yeah, but you could still play it all minus the Red War
Smith
campaign.
predicted this.
Yeah, so it's a bittersweet thing, but
Well said.
I think there's hope for the future. I don't know. Let's be punny about it. Especially since Paul McCartney just was on SNL. So yeah, let's celebrate it and have fun. And remember like the good stuff. And yeah, it's a bummer, but I don't know. There's still so much shit to play in here.
Just for example, I just opened Reddit, right? I know,
Right.
big first mistake. And this is a post about them ending service, and it isn't on a Destiny related thing, it's on a video games thing. Most of the top comments are good riddance, hope Bungie gets shut down, they still owe me for the content they stole.
Right.
Like
Right.
that is, I hope Bungie will die soon. These scammers don't deserve anything. Like that's the sentiment for
Right.
and I imagine, and that was linked to why they picked Destiny to be sunset, not Marathon, because
Right.
it has. Like I know people like, yeah, but
It has
Marathon has a bad
stigma
rep,
around
and
it.
it's like,
Yeah.
but it hasn't. The game hasn't been out for very long.
Right.
So yeah.
It hasn't been a chance to have the haters hating on it as much, and no, and
There's
that,
people
that
complaining
makes
about
sense.
raids being too difficult. Oh my god, this is definitely the wrong place.
Yeah.
No, I just
No,
saw
and
someone.
that-
I just saw
that's
someone
like-
complain that Deepstone Crypt is really difficult. I know this. Okay. Sorry.
Because their eyes were watering too much from listening to Deepstone Lullaby.
Yeah,
They couldn't
Yeah.
they couldn't beat the jumping.
Mate,
puzzle.
I don't
That's
think
what
they
it was.
managed. I don't think they managed to get through the Sparrow section by what it sounded
God.
like they were complaining about.
But it's like, and that's the part that's also kind of like heartbreaking and has been probably the most difficult part of being a fan for the last 12 years is like the constant hate from people on the internet where it's like, you know what, maybe you don't like the game anymore, but don't shit on people who still find value and still like playing it and still like talking about it. And that's the part that's like frustrating, and it's like, okay, get off the internet then, but it's like that's it's like these are people, they're the devs that worked on this game and have believed in what they were building and creating and designing and working on for this whole time, and it's like to have some stupid idiot on the internet say some backhanded comment that's like just completely disingenuous and foul. It's like, come on, like these are people's jobs and livelihood. They weren't the ones that decided to sunset content or vault content, and it's like, but that's like a stain that's permanently on this game. And and maybe, and to your point, Matt, or like maybe that's kind of why they chose it. It's like the only way Destiny's ever gonna get past this is if they move on from the 2, and like. It just kept getting worse and worse. After Final Shape, a lot of people stopped playing because, in their opinion, the story was done and it was satisfying for them, and they destroyed the Witness, and it's like, cool, I'm moving on to the next game. And there's other people that are like, I want to ride this out until the very end and see where it goes, and people stopped playing it Beyond Light because they wanted to play the Red War campaign again and again and again, and that's fine, right? Everyone has a different thing that they want to get from this game and franchise, and no one person's opinion is less valid when it comes to sort of how they felt when stuff was content, because I do think that's a reasonable criticism that some people have just never gotten over. But when you start attacking like, oh, I hope the whole studio shuts down, it's like, no, fuck off. Like there's people that work there, that human beings that they didn't make these decisions, and probably every day hate that happened, that their company made that decision knowing full well that it was going to like sever trust from people forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks. Like I understand not everyone's going to be happy all the time, but like, I don't know, at least don't yuck on my yum. Is that the thing that everyone says now, I guess? I don't know.
That is a thing some people say. And it's applicable to the situation, so yeah. I'll allow it. But yeah, no, all very well said. I agree. it's unfortunate the amount of like negativity
Sure.
that's out there. But
Yeah.
hopefully, I think the people who do really care about the game will continue to,
Right.
play it and, walk people through raids for the first time and
Right. Because
have
you'll
fun
still
doing
be
it.
able to. It's not like Anthem or Concord, right? I know that there's people who are probably still sitting in the dark in a corner somewhere heartbroken because Anthem was turned off. And that sucks. Like those that I feel for those people where it's like that game maybe meant everything to them. It was like Destiny meets Iron Man, and that was like the game, right? And then it's like and then it got shut off after 2 or 3 years. And it's like that's got to be heartbreaking and devastating. But like maybe I didn't believe in that game, but I'm not going to go over to the Anthem subreddit, which I'm assuming is still up, and like shit on those people and try to make them feel bad. Like, what does that do? Like, that doesn't solve anything. It doesn't progress anything.
No.
It just makes somebody feel worse about themselves. And it's like that's the only thing that's been kind of frustrating about seeing all this stuff is like, can we try to look at the other side of this coin of like and celebrate what we've gone through for the last 12 years and not just hate on people for liking something. So
exactly.
I'm done with my rant. I'm sorry.
No,
So.
that's a good rant, and I'm glad you bring it up. I think it's an important thing to continue to inject into the discourse, if you will, over the course of Destiny's final days here. So that about covers it. Thank you guys for hopping on and chatting. As we said before, we will continue to do this podcast, and we will continue to get people on this show to talk about Destiny, what it means to them, and try and get some people on the show who worked on the game and share some of their stories behind creating it and kind of the why behind certain things. So, thank you guys again, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
You can put this voice recording away and go on with your life, because you and I both know you'd have me yapping in your ear for the rest of your days.
Want to further the discussion? Get in touch with us at any of our Twitter handles, all of which can be found at our podcast description.